Clone series. It's your boy Osas, and in today's episode, we are going to extend our Firebase Cloud Functions to be able to support push notification for message reaction. So what I mean by that is when we jump into a chat room, for example, in the current version of our project, if we react to a specific message, we're actually not sending push notification to that message owner, which is obviously not ideal. What I would like for us to be able to do is, when I long press on a message, hit that reaction button, I would like for us to send push notification to that message owner. And the way we're going to do that is by extending our cloud functions. And I'm going to be using the HTTP callable method. And so as they sound, they are methods that they're cloud functions that we can actually directly call on the Swift side of the equation, as you can see in the documentation. And of course, you can still choose to use the database trigger method style that we used in the last episode that allows you to be able to listen to a specific event. And if you want to go that route, you would just have to listen to the events of message reaction and follow accordingly to the whatever logic it is that you want to set. In our own situation, I just want to change the style to show you guys how to actually use this HTTP callable methods inside of your Swift application. So what we're going to do is let's jump into our to-do list for the day and see what the agenda is. So we need to create and deploy a callable cloud functions to our Firebase backend, and then we need to call that function on our Swift side and basically use that to essentially send push notification to the message owner that we reacted to. And well, let's jump right into our Node.js file. And right now I'm in my backend directory in the WhatsApp clone. And right now I'm in the index.js file, as you can see. And in the last episode, we basically built out this bad boy called send notification for messages. And so right now I'm actually going to go right ahead and comment out these other methods. Or if I'm not commenting them out, actually I'm just going to leave them if you guys want to use them for inspirations in the future. But I'm going to go ahead and create a new Firebase cloud functions, right? And like I said, it's a callable method, so the usual, we need to export it. So we're going to say exports, and I'm just going to call it something like send notification, or maybe something like send message reaction notification. I think that's a good name. And this time around, we're going to be using the functions as always, coming from the functions module, but we're going to be using the HTTP one. So there's a HTTPS and then the on-call. So these are callable methods that they're not going to be triggered by Firebase real-time database events. They're triggered only when we explicitly call them on our Swift app. So this is pretty cool. And the syntax goes like this. It's going to give us two things. So we know we're going to get a data and context, I believe. And then it's going to return this context or disclosure for us when it fires. And so let's go right ahead and grab what we need from it. So these Firebase HTTP functions, if you jump into the documentation, you can actually pass in a bunch of parameters and arguments or values into those functions when you're calling them. And this is exactly what they look like. I'm trying to see what they look like on the Swift side. If I can find the documentation, where is it? Right here on the Swift side, as you can see, we can actually pass in values when we're calling them. And in this example, they're passing in a text, and then, they're passing in the value of that text. And in that case, I want us to send a bunch of information from the client side to the server side. And what I want to get for us is actually a couple of things. So I want us to get, for example, the FCM token. So the FCM token is basically going to be who we're sending the message to, right? And I'm just going to be data.fcm token. So we're going to be passing it into this specific cloud function whenever we call it. And then I would like for us to also get the channel name on send. You already know the deal because we did that in the last episode. And it's just going to be data.channel name at send. And then I would like for us to get the notification message, of course. And the notification message, we're going to pass it in as a parameter into this specific cloud function. And it's just going to be the notification message. And we're going to be pulling it out of this data object right here. And so with that being said, all we need to do right now is just call our cloud function send push notification method. Remember, we have the send push notification method all the way at the bottom here, which is an asynchronous method, right? I could just go right ahead and call that method right here. I could just copy this and go right down here inside of our send message reactions. And I'm just going to call it right here. So push notification, basically send a reaction for this. And let's see, what do I want to change here? I'm guessing I could probably make this asynchronous so you could just stop yelling at us. Let's see, what do I want to do? I could do this. I can call this async and pass in this. And I'm probably going to have to go close it off over here. And I think it's all happy now. Okay, so now I'm just going to call this send push notifications method, and that's all I need. So it needs the notification message. This is the notification message right here. The sender name now is just going to be the channel name at send, okay? Because that's just the title of the push notification. So again, I want you guys to remember this. Sender name and channel name at send, they're pretty much the same thing. We're just using it to construct the push notification title. And you can see it right here. Title is sender name. So I don't want you guys to be confused by that. So the FCM token is the FCM token that we're sending here. And that's all we need. So I'm going to go right ahead and save this. I have the prettier linter inside of my VS Code. So that's why it's auto linting for me, which is pretty cool. So with that done, now I'm going to go ahead and deploy the send message reaction notification cloud function. And the way to deploy it is just like we did for the other ones. It's just going to be, I'm just going to go up here and you guys can go ahead and type in this, this command, but I already know I just recently used it. So I'm just going to click arrow up or arrow down to find it. And all I want to deploy is Firebase deploy -- only functions, but I'm pretty sure we can actually call the specific function we want to deploy. So I'm going to put : send message. I'm just going to copy this. And so this is going to deploy this specific method for us because we know we're not deploying all of the other functions. At least we don't have to redeploy the one we already have. We don't have to redeploy this, what is it called again? Send notification for messages function. So I'm just going to say Firebase deploy -- only functions : send message reaction notification. Go right ahead and hit that enter. Make sure you're in your backend directory and let us wait for this bad boy to actually deploy our push notifications for us. So while this is doing its thing, I know it takes a couple of seconds. I'm actually going to go right ahead and jump into Xcode and let us discuss how we actually want to call this on the client side. So inside of Xcode, let us go into our message service. So I'm going to Command Shift and O, go message, service, the Swift file. And remember, this is where we're actually setting our message reaction. I don't know if you guys recall this. And so I think it's somewhere all the way down here. Right here. So we have the static function called had reaction, and had reaction is exactly what it sounds like, right? It has reaction for a specific message. Well, I would like for us to just have some sort of a method that we can call in here that is going to help us call this HTTP method that we are currently deploying, right? This send message reaction notification method. And I'm going to copy the name of that method because we're actually going to need it. And I'm just going to paste it right here, comment it out. And what do I want to do? Well, I'm just going to create another function inside of here that is going to be responsible for calling it. So I'm going to say static func and func send reaction or send notification for reaction. I think that's a good one. And then I'm going to say message. So let's say, yeah, send notification for reaction for message. It's going to be a message item, meaning which message are we actually reacting. We need to know the emoji that we are using as the reaction. So that's going to be a string. And then we need to know the channel name at send. I'm just going to pass that in here. And because remember, we already have the channel name at send. Let's see. Do we know the channel name at send here? We probably don't know it here, but we can get it. We can either get it here or, yeah, we have the channel, so we can get the channel name at send here. So I'm just going to say this is a string. And let us go right ahead and compute this bad boy. But you know what? We're going to come back to this. Let's go and see if our function has successfully deployed. And look at that, guys. It says, yep. So send message reaction notification as deployed to US Central. And let me jump into my Firebase Cloud Function console, and let's just make sure that that is correct and it's not actually lying to us. So I'm going to go into the functions console. I'm going to refresh my console. And we should see that new notification or that new push notification, not push notification, that new cloud function. So this is the cloud function right here, send message reaction notification, which is awesome. And again, remember, this does not fire based on Firebase trigger. And you can see it right here on the trigger. This is database. It's triggered by the database, while this one is triggered by HTTPS, which means we're actually directly calling it. So let's jump back to Xcode and let's actually call it now that we have successfully deployed it, which is exactly what we want. And the first thing we need is what data are we actually sending to that cloud function when we call it. So let me scroll here. I'm going to collapse my console a little bit, and I'm going to copy all of this data. I'm just going to grab all of this, and I'm going to go back to Xcode. I want to make sure we get all the right data. So I know we're getting the FCM token, okay, and we're getting the channel name at send, and we're getting the notification message. So let's go right ahead and construct each one at a time. So I'm going to first grab the FCM token by unwrapping it from the user. So I'm going to say FCM token is equals to, remember each message has a sender now. We did this a couple of episodes ago. And remember sender is just a user item, so which means it should have a FCM token. Well, if the sender doesn't have a FCM token, which means if the owner of the message does not have a mailing address, that's just the way to think of it, then we can't really send them a notification. So I'm just going to return out of the scope here, and let us put a print statement for better, debugging purposes. And I'm just going to put a print statement here, and I'm just going to say failed to, let's see, send reaction notification. Okay, and maybe we should call this send reaction notification. Yeah, send reaction notification sounds good. All right, and I'm going to put because message owner has no FCM token. Okay, and now that we have our FCM token, we need to grab the channel name at send. And remember, we're going to be passing that in as a parameter inside of this function, so we ain't got to stress about that. The last thing we need to do is the message, the notification message. So I'm going to go right ahead and create a notification message. And the reason I'm creating a notification message here, because remember, we can react to all kinds of messages. We can react to photo, we can react to text, we can react to video. The way I've built this application, we can essentially react to any message, okay? So I would like for us to have a dynamic notification message based on the type of message we're reacting to. So for example, if we're reacting to a photo message, it makes sense for us to have like, oh, reacted to your photo. But if we're reacting to a text message, it makes sense for us to say the text message that we're actually reacting to. So for example, OSAS reacted to A, and then we put the emoji that you used as the reaction. So that's what we want to do here. And I'm just going to say if message, the type, and remember, we're getting the message as a parameter of the send reaction method. And I'm going to say if the type is text, let's just go ahead and say notification is equals to reacted, or let's call it notification message is equals to reacted, let's see. And this is basically the body of our push notification. Emoji to your, let's see. And then I'm going to say message.text. So this is going to say something like, the title is going to be something like OSAS, and then the body, so let's see, title is going to be something like OSAS, damn, I can't spell title, dude. Okay, body is going to be something like, yeah, reacted. And then we have an emoji. Let's say, for example, we use this emoji. Let's say we use like a love emoji. And it's going to say reacted emoji to your, let's say something like A. Let's say that's the text message, right? And that's exactly what that is going to come across as. And so if it's not a text message, right, I would like for us to just say the type that you're reacting to. So I'm going to copy this bad boy, paste it right here. And we're just going to say reacted, the emoji that you're reacting to. But instead of text, now it's going to be type. And remember, type have titles, which are computer properties that we created like 50 episodes ago. So if you command and jump into title, it's going to tell you what title it is. If it's a text, if it's a photo, if it's a video. So now this is going to read very nicely. This is going to say something like reacted to your photo, or reacted to your video, or reacted to your audio. And we could just say something like message. So we say photo, message, video, message, voice message. Okay, so I think that's pretty clear. The last thing we want to do is the actual payload. Let's create the actual dictionary, because remember, on the server side right here, inside of our Node.js, we're actually pulling this object out using their keys. So this is actually a key value pair. It's a dictionary, or a hash map, as it's called in other programming languages. So the key here is FCM token. So we need to create that dictionary that we're going to be sending over, because this data object is a dictionary. And so here, I'm just going to call it payload here. So I'm going to say payload, because that's the correct terminology. It's going to be of type string to type any, but in reality, it's actually going to be string to string. So we can make it explicit, but let's leave it as any, in case you guys want to add anything else to it. And so what do we need inside of here? Well, like I said, we need the FCM token. So I'm going to use the FCM token key. And remember, this is a static key that we created a while ago. If I come in and jump into it, this is inside of our user item. This is our FCM token static key. And that just prevents us from using those magic string as the key for our dictionaries. So with that rant out of the way, we're going to pass in this FCM token as the value. The FCM token we just unwrapped right here. The next thing we need is the channel name at send. And then we're going to pass in the channel name at send. And it's clean channel name at name. Oh, it should be channel name at send. Let me change this to channel name at send right there. Okay, and then the last bit of the information that we need to send over is the notification message. But I don't think we have a notification message key here. Notification message. Do we have a message? Or maybe I should just call it something like text. Okay, whatever. You know what? Let's create a notification message key. I just feel like it would be so much more cleaner. So I'm going to copy paste this here. Or let's go into the channel. Let's do that inside of the channel item. So let's call something like notifications message, and it's just going to be notification message. Okay, and let's jump back into our message service and use that key. So I'm going to say notification message, and the value for notification message is this notification message we just created here, this nice and potentially dynamic notification message. And so with our payload setup, what do we need to do, boys and girls? Remember, this is an HTTP, it's callable method in our Firebase server. All we got to do is import the Firebase Cloud Functions module, and we're going to scroll all the way up here, and we're just going to say import Firebase functions. Firebase, did we not install Firebase functions? I could have sworn we did. Just a second, guys. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we installed Firebase functions. We didn't? That's super funny. There's no such module as Firebase function. Let me try this. Let me try to actually call the Firebase function module down here, and let's see if it works. If it doesn't work, then we need to go install this and using SPM. So I'm going to say functions. Wow, looks like we don't have our Firebase Cloud Function. Okay, guys, so let us go and install Firebase Cloud Functions into our SDK, into our actual Swift project. So the SDK, the way we're going to do that is just jump here, click on your project, and we already installed a bunch of the Firebase project here. If you click this plus button right here, you can search for the Cloud Functions module, and I'm just going to say functions. And look at that, we have Firebase functions. So you notice when I clicked on it, the hat button got, turned into blue. Just click on that hat button. That's all you need to do. And now the Firebase functions should be inside of our project, should be available. So let's scroll all the way back up, or let's even just call it right here. And I'm just going to say functions. Nope, let's go up here and let us import it. So we're going to import Firebase functions. And now that module is available. Let's scroll all the way down here. And now I'm going to use it right here. So now it's going to be functions.functions. That's HTTP callable. And this is the beautiful thing about this. The name is just going to be the name of this specific method here. So whatever you call this method in your Node.js or in your JavaScript file, make sure it's the same name. And it's very case sensitive. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to jump back to Xcode, and I'm just going to paste it here as a string. And then we're going to call it. And so the call comes with, let's see, completion handler. And I'm looking for one that takes in a data. Okay. And so the data that I want to pass in is this payload. So I'm just going to pass in the payload, or you can call it data, whatever you want, guys. And now let me highlight this, make sure everything is good. Remove the spacing. I'm going to hit this completion handler. So the completion handler is going to return a result, or it's going to return an error. And I don't really care so much for the results. I'm just going to track if there's an error. So I'm going to print the error, and I'm just going to say print failed to send. I'm just going to copy the name of this method, reaction notification. And let's get the error, the localized description. And so by invoking, this is essentially how we're going to invoke this Firebase Cloud Function that we just created. So by just saying Firebase, by saying functions, HTTP callable, this is going to trigger this Firebase cloud function that we have right here. So this bad boy. Okay, now let us put it to the test and make sure it's working. But before we can do that, we need to actually call the Swift method, right? Where are we going to call the send reaction method? Well, pretty simply. Remember this had reaction? It's actually getting called inside of our chat room view model. And if you doubt me, you can put it on your search and actually look it up right here. And you see there's one place where it's being called, and it's in our chat room view model, right? And so if you jump here, you see chat room view model, message service, had reaction. So that's where we're firing it. So now all we got to do, let me go back here. All we got to do now is just call the send reaction notification method inside of this, had reaction method. And so before the completion handler, I'm just going to go right ahead and say send reaction notification is going to say for which message. Well, we know the message right here. I'm going to pass in that message. It's going to say for which emoji. Well, we know the reaction. So this is the reaction. So we're going to take that reaction, and reactions have an emoji property, which is just a string. And then it's going to ask for which channel name. So we need to create the channel name. So I'm just going to say channel name at send. And it's just going to be channel. Remember the method we created in the last episode, get push notification title. And it's going to ask for the sender name, and the sender name is just going to be the current user, which we have right here as a property of this side reaction method. Current user, and we're just going to say the username of that bad boy. We're going to use it to get the channel title. So we're going to pass in this channel name at send into our property right here. And I think we're good to go. So let's go ahead, let's run this baby. Let's actually react to a message, and let's see if that push notification comes true on our simulator. Good work, by the way, guys. This is a lot of stuff, but this is the kind of stuff you have to play with if you want to be a really good app developer. And I hope you guys are learning a lot and you are getting to understand what we're trying to accomplish. So let's jump into a channel right here. Let's say we go to keyword user 27. We know that's the simulator because that's what I logged in last as. Let me go ahead and react to one of this bad boy's messages. So let me react to what's up. Let me give it that thumbs up. Let's see what comes through. Look at that. QA user 3 reacted with thumbs up to your what's up. Perfect, guys. What if I had an heart emoji? Look at that. QA user 3 reacted with da-da-da-da, right? Let's see, does he have let me run into this iPhone 15 Plus, and so that way I can react to a photo and a video message. And of course, let's see what comes through. That should also be successful. Let's jump into this channel. Let's go to QA user 3, which is this channel. Let's react to this beautiful photo of Padme. Give it the at. Look at that. QA user 27 reacted to your photo message, which is exactly what we want, guys. And what if we react to, for example, their message, laugh at it, reacted to that. Okay, let's see. What about the, this group channel that I created in the last couple of episodes? Let's say I react to this bad boy, give it a heart emoji, and then it says QA user 27, and that's the fam, which is the name of the group chat. And then it says reacted to your photo message, right? What about video message? Let's give it some, like a prayer icon. Look at that. Reacted to your video message. You notice how the push notifications for these bad boys are significantly faster? That's because we're just calling it directly. We're not doing any computation on the server side. We're just directly calling the method, so it's significantly faster. And I think that's pretty much it for this episode, guys. As always, I hope you like and enjoy this. This is so much work to create, guys. I mean, this is over 70 episodes at this point. Please like and subscribe. It takes so much work. There's a lot of paid courses out there that don't even release 70, episode series, and you're charging $300 for it. So the least you could do for your boy is leave that like button and subscribe. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next episode where we're going to continue with our, chat functionality. I would like for us to talk about caching and how to sort of optimize some of our fetch operations. Likewise, see you guys in the next episode. Peace.